Hi there, Mr. Water Tree here. I wanted to talk to you about my book. The new book, Take Your Toddlers to Tokyo. I don't know why it's always reversed when I do this, but it is this book. It's available as a pocket book, and of course, from today, October 31st, it's available as an ebook. So you can get it off your favorite site. I'll paste the link in the comments, and you can also read more about the book there. And there's even more about the book on my website, wisterianwatertree.com. wisterianwatertree.com. I'm not called .com, but you will get the picture. It's my name and .com. Anyway, you're welcome to get the book, but let me tell you a little bit more about it if you're curious, because this book was created as, it's when you're traveling somewhere, you always wish that you had a book to help you. And when my kids were 6 months, we went to Tokyo with them. So they were toddlers, and they really, I really was struggling to find something to help us. To what do you do when your kids are small? How do you find diapers in Tokyo? Of course, that's one of the problems that you have. Where are the toilets? Where are the changing rooms? When I first came to Japan 20 years ago, there were no changing boards in the men's toilets. All the changing boards were in the ladies' toilets, because the women were expected to take care of the kids. Now, Japanese men have stepped up. They are taking care of their kids. You often see young Japanese fathers carrying their kids or pushing them in strollers, and they are no longer, that's no longer the traditional Japanese style where dad worked extremely long hours and didn't come home until everyone was asleep, and then maybe he'd go out and play baseball with the kids on weekends. That type of life is no longer the way that the Japanese fathers live. Luckily, because since I now live in Japan, I've been living here for 15 years now, and it's a very interesting place to live, a very different place, and your kids will be completely appreciated. Japanese people love kids. Luckily, number two, they are no longer patting your kids and touching them as they used to do 15 years ago. Then it was actually quite a problem, because the traditional way was you were allowed to touch kids. You were allowed to pat kids. And of course, people don't like that really now anymore. They didn't like it then either. But then at the time it was allowed. Now it's no longer, recognized. So people don't pat kids. They coo them, they look at them, they smile at them. They are really nice to kids. So bringing kids to Japan is a great way of opening the door to meeting Japanese people. And you may wonder, do the kids remember anything? If I bring my kids somewhere, do they remember what I've been showing them, what they've seen, how things are? And when we brought our kids, and before I wrote this book, Take Your Toddlers to Tokyo, which is now available as an ebook, and you can get the ebook off the website, or you can get it, go to my website and read more if you want. When we took our kids to Tokyo, we were wondering, will they remember anything about what we are showing them now? And they do. Small kids do remember a lot more than you think. Our kids also went to Hawaii when they were 2 years old, because it's actually a great tip. Use the airline offer of taking your kids somewhere before they are 2 years old. 2 years old is the cutoff point for when they need their own seat. So until they are 2, they have to sit in your seat, but you only pay the airport fees and the taxes. So it's a great deal. Bring your kids to Tokyo before they are 2 years old, and it's a lot cheaper. And there's another advantage to do that. you get to stay in hotels for free. Yeah, that's true. Because in Japan, until kids are 6 years old, in the hotels, they are assumed to sleep in the parents' beds. And if you're sleeping in a tatami room, of course, that doesn't matter, because then you have mattresses on the floor and the kids can roll around as kids do, and it will be fine. If you're sleeping in a bed, it's more difficult. If you have a lot of kids, I have 3, then you may need a family room. Family rooms are available in most Japanese reasonably big hotels, not in the business hotels. And not in specialty places like capsule hotels and hostels, although some hostels do have them. But in a family room, you can stay up to 7 people. I think the biggest one we stayed in was actually 10 people. And then they have a really big tatami area, and they have a few beds if you are more comfortable sleeping in a bed. But until they are 6, your kids stay for free. As long as there is a parent or grown-up in whose beds they can sleep. So when our kids were small and we took grandma traveling, we didn't have to pay anything extra for the kids' beds. Now our kids are more than 6 years old, so of course we have to pay. But even when there were only the 2 of us and our 3 kids, we only had to pay for 1 of them. So this is a tip for you. When the kids are small, you have to pay less. That's a great deal, actually. And they do remember. They do remember everything that you do and see. They may have trouble verbalizing it if they haven't started speaking yet. So when we took our kids to Hawaii when they were 2 years old, just exactly because of what I just said, the airline tickets were really, really cheap. Then they couldn't speak. But they still remember. They do have memories of being there, of being on the beach, on Waikiki Beach, and so on. So it's a great opportunity to bring your kids and give them new experience that will stay with them for life. Another example, when my kids were 4, we went to Sweden. And my son still remembers how his sisters broke his giant gingerbread cookie, and he's still mad at them. And we never really talked much about that incident. He still remembers. So kids do remember when they travel. They do remember the new things they see. And if you want to take them to Japan, you have a great opportunity, because it's cheaper when they're smaller, and you give them a lot more experience. And before they enter school, you don't have to care about school years and vacations and stuff like that. You can go when it's cheap, when you can get a vacation. So that's part of the planning that I talk about in Take Your Toddlers to Tokyo, my book about how to plan for going to Japan. I wrote this book, actually, as I mentioned. There was no book when we first came to Japan. So I wrote the book after we came to Japan, after we'd stayed here for a while. Now it's been 15 years we've been living here. Kids have been around for 9 years. And they were not born in Japan, so that's why we took them here when they were 6. When they're 6 months. So it's a great opportunity. Take it and do what I recommend in the book. Plan ahead. I've tried to build a book with a lot of checklists, a lot of help for you to plan, to get things right for your travels. So you need to be very careful about that. But of course, you need contingency plans. What happens if my kid gets sick? What happens if they throw up? What happens if we need to take them to the toilet and change the diapers? What happens if? And all that is in the book. I even wrote a special chapter about how to find medical care. There are lots of hospitals in Japan. The medical care is very good, but not if you're a foreigner. And it can be very expensive if you don't have travel insurance. So that's something you also need to remember. You need travel insurance for yourself and for your kids. not just for yourself. Make sure that you have travel insurance, and you can get it from the most surprising places. We found out when we started traveling that one of my wife's credit cards, regardless of whether we bought the tickets or not, it gave us travel insurance, just like that. So check your credit cards. If they do offer that, check different sources, and then try to get a good travel insurance. Because if you don't need it, you don't have to pay that much. If you do need it, you're covered. Otherwise, you'll be in a big hole financially because care is so expensive here if you don't have insurance. If you have insurance, it's cheap. So get insurance, that's another tip, and plan ahead. Start thinking about what you want to see, what you want to do, and I give a lot of tips in the book about what you can see and what you can do for your kids and with your kids, especially child-friendly things. So take your toddlers to Tokyo. It talks about when you should go. That's very important. Some parts of the year are not very comfortable here. I mean, we had 40 degrees for several weeks where I live now. 40 degrees centigrade. It was warmer than it is in Bangkok, and it's humid and it's not very fun. So don't bring your kids here when that happens. Also, typhoons is not something to play around with. Earthquakes, of course, Japan is very prone to that kind of thing. It's in a country which has a lot of natural disasters, but that's not something you need to worry about. The country is built to be safe. Everybody is aware that this might happen, and the buildings are built to be earthquake proof. They are built to be safe. They are built to manage typhoons. Don't worry. Even if the weather can and the nature can be quite harsh here, it's not something you need to worry about. And in Tokyo, you're in a big city. It's a very big city. You don't need to worry at all. Let me see, a couple of more tips. About hotels. If you're looking for hotels in central Tokyo, and as I said, family rooms, that's the best tip ever. If you're going to Disney, there are family rooms in all the partner hotels. Do stay in a partner. Don't stay in the Disney hotels. They are unnecessarily expensive. You don't get more service. The only thing that you get is amenities with Mickey on them to take home as a souvenir. It's not worth it, in my opinion. Stay in a partner hotel. The partner hotels are organized just around the park itself, and they have buses or even walking distance to the monorail in some cases. So stay in a partner hotel, and they have family rooms. But if you want to stay just a couple of days and you're looking for a family-friendly place, even if you're not going to Disney, you should look for a Disney Good Neighbor hotel, because they are by definition family-friendly. And many of the Disney Good Neighbor hotels, they are in the city center. So, of course, they have buses to the park, but it takes a while to get there. So I don't recommend staying there if you're going to the Disney parks. But if you're looking for a family-friendly hotel, they are by definition family-friendly. So do look for a Disney Good Neighbor hotel. That's a tip. Okay. So as I've been talking about, the book is ready now. Here is Take Your Toddlers to Tokyo. This is the paperback copy. It's has been out for a little while. The ebook is ready now. Do buy the ebook. It's cheaper for you. It's better for the environment. You can't take notes, but maybe you didn't want to do that anyway, or maybe you want to take notes separately. If you want to take notes, you anyway want them to be in something that is handy and easily usable and organized in a way that you can use it better than my book maybe. So read the book at home, plan ahead, and make your own notes, make your own plans. That's another piece of advice. There are so many wonderful things to do and see in Tokyo every season. Cherry blossom season in March, of course, is wonderful, but crowded. Autumn, fall colors is really great, but it's not so much in Tokyo actually. You need to go outside to one of the resorts or areas and do a day trip, and then it's really, really nice. So, and please remember to go to my website, wisterianwatertree.com. If you do, and you go to the book page, Triple Toddlers in Tokyo, and you it's linked from the front page. You don't need to remember that. If you go there and you sign up for my mailing list, I will give you a little present. Yeah, I will give you a present for signing up to my mailing list. I don't want to spam you. I'll just tell you about when books are available, when things happen, and so on. But if you like to have a little present, then you're welcome. So please come sign up for my mailing list at wisterianwatertree.com, or get the book from the URL in the comments. It's a bit hard to read out, so that's why I don't do that. But you can also get it from the link on my front page. Welcome, and please plan ahead. Do consider bringing your kids to Tokyo. It's the best thing you can do. Bye for now.